Kubayev under fire, the sacred, the strategic, and the shadow of total war. When cities bleed and cathedrals burn, when the sky becomes a judge and the night its sentence, you are not watching war. You are witnessing the collapse of what we once called civilization. June 11th, 2025, Kyiv. A night that will be remembered not for how many died, but for what almost did, the soul of a nation. Chronology of escalation, 1 a.m., Kyiv. In the early hours before dawn, the Ukrainian capital was bombarded with the most extensive aerial assault of the war. 479 Iranian-made Shahed kamikaze drones, deployed in waves, calculated to exhaust and overwhelm Ukrainian air defenses, 20 cruise and ballistic missiles, targeting infrastructure, energy nodes, and historic landmarks. For over 2 hours, Kyiv's skyline was an inferno of tracers and falling debris. Children huddled in bathtubs. Families watched the night sky erupt like a battlefield from their basement windows. Hospitals lost power. And then, a moment of collective breathlessness. A direct strike near the St. Sophia Cathedral. The strike on St. Sophia. Symbolism destroyed. The impact didn't destroy the entire church, but it didn't need to. The bell tower cracked, portions of 11th century stonework shattered on sacred ground. Icons blackened by shockwaves. A UNESCO World Heritage Site shaken, both physically and spiritually. For Ukrainians, St. Sophia isn't just a church, it's a symbol of identity older than the Russian state. To strike it even indirectly was not just collateral damage, it was cultural warfare. They didn't just aim at Kyiv, said Culture Minister Oleksandr Tkachenko. They aimed at our memory. Military analysis. A shift in strategy weapon profile. Shahed Mon-136, Mon-131 drones. Slow, loud but effective in saturation. H-101 missiles, precision long-range strikes launched from Tu-95 bombers over the Caspian. Kalibr cruise missiles, sea-launched, designed to bypass dense radar zones. Tactical breakdown. 1. Wave tactic. First wave triggered radar systems. Second wave sought to exploit blind spots. Third wave carried the real payload. 2. Diversion doctrine. Drones used as noise and chaos generators, while cruise missiles homed in on actual targets. 3. Layered destruction. Civil infrastructure, military comms, and cultural landmarks hit in synchronized timeframes. This wasn't a random barrage. It was a military theater, rehearsed and executed with chilling efficiency. Defense capabilities and gaps. Despite the unprecedented scale of the attack, Ukrainian air defense systems, largely Western supplied, NASAMS, Iris-T, Gepard, intercepted nearly 96% of incoming drones and missiles. But that 4% was enough to cause a civilian death toll in Rivne, fires across Dubno's industrial zone, blackouts in Kyiv's Obolon and Podil districts, cultural trauma in the heart of St. Sophia. Kyiv's resilience held, but only just. Geopolitical shockwaves. Poland scrambled its F-16s as the drones crossed into western Ukraine, dangerously close to NATO airspace. Germany condemned the targeting of heritage sites as a violation of international law. The Vatican issued a rare statement, calling the strike a desecration of faith, not just stone. Meanwhile, Washington remained silent. The world watched, but only Kyiv bled. The human lens. The drone strikes didn't just destroy, they transformed Kyiv into a ghost city. Shops shuttered, transit halted, families packed emergency bags, and once again, Ukrainians reminded the world that normal life is a privilege the war has stolen. The haunting footage of a mother covering her child's ears as a drone buzzes overhead has already gone viral. But in Kyiv, There is no pause button, only survival. What comes next? Strategic Forecast 1. Ukrainian response. Likely retaliation via long-range drones on Russian airbases. Pressure on NATO to supply additional Patriot and SAMP-T batteries. 2. Russian strategy. Proving its capacity to launch coordinated saturation strikes deep into urban territory. Testing NATO's red lines near the Polish border. 3. Psychological warfare. The symbolic strike on St. Sophia wasn't military, it was psychological. Moscow is not just targeting cities, it's targeting Ukrainian resolve. The unasked question: if Kyiv, with its dense air defense and Western support, can still be wounded like this, what hope remains for the rest of Ukraine? Final thought. Tonight, the world's most surveilled battlefield was illuminated again, not by strategy, not by diplomacy, but by a city trying to hold its shape while being erased in real time. The drones will return, the missiles will follow, and the silence of world powers may speak louder than any siren. This is no longer a war between two nations. This is a struggle between memory and oblivion, between identity and erasure, between the sky and those trying to live beneath it. This is Kyiv, June 11, 2025, and the sky is still hostile.